I'll never forget this one photo shoot I did for a client in her late 50s. She wore a beautiful cream linen dress. Her skin was glowing, her figure graceful. Everything looked perfect until we printed the photo. The entire team went silent. It wasn't the dress, and it definitely wasn't her confidence. It was her hair. It looked thin, flat, and slightly oily at the roots. The result, her whole face lost its spark. That natural glow, that quiet strength gone. And no matter how elegant her outfit was, her hair dragged everything down with it. As a fashion designer who works exclusively with women over 50, I've come to understand something very clearly. After a certain age, your hair doesn't just frame your face, it introduces your entire presence. And if you've ever looked in the mirror and felt like something was off, it might not be your clothes, it might be your hair. If that hits home, leave me a comment below. I'd love to know I'm not the only one noticing this. And if you're new here, hit like, subscribe, and help me reach my first 1,000 subscribers. It keeps me going and helps me bring you even better videos. Let's be real. Your hair can make you look vibrant, youthful, and effortlessly polished. But neglected hair, it can age you. It can make you look tired, washed out, even like you're trying too hard to keep up with age. I've seen so many women invest in dresses, shoes, even designer handbags, but forget about the one accessory they wear every single day. Their hair, you can't hang it in a closet. You can't style around it. You can't swap it out at the last minute. And most of us shampoo our hair the way we always have, right? It's just part of the routine. But what if I told you that the way you wash your hair might be stealing its life, bounce, and beauty, little by little every day? The good news is, you don't need a fancy salon. You don't need a complicated haircut. You just need to wash your hair the right way. That alone can turn your hair into a soft halo of elegance that lifts your entire look and your confidence. So if you've ever looked at your reflection and thought, why does my hair look so tired? Stick around, because in the next part, I'm going to break down the most common hair washing mistakes women over 50 and 60 often make without even realizing it. This is more than hair care. It's a journey back to loving yourself again. Let's begin together. Mistake 1. Hot showers, a gift to the body, a foe to the hair. They say after 50, a hot shower feels like one of life's simplest, most cherished pleasures. And it's true, there's nothing quite like stepping under warm water at the end of a long day, letting it melt the tension away. It feels like a quiet hug from the inside out, doesn't it? But here's the part no one tells you. That same cozy warmth that soothes your body might be quietly hurting your hair. We women over 50 have lived through decades of life's weather, storms, sunshine, and everything in between. And after all those years of caring for others, sometimes all we want is a little time to ourselves, just a few peaceful minutes under a steamy shower. I get it. Truly, I do. But as comforting as that water feels on your skin, your hair, not so much. Hair after 50, more delicate than ever. Here's something not many people talk about. After 50, your hair changes. Your estrogen levels drop, your hair growth cycle slows down, and your follicles shrink. That means new hairs grow in thinner, weaker, and more spaced out. In short, your hair becomes more fragile. Every strand becomes precious. And hot water, no matter how good it feels, is one of the sneakiest ways we strip life from our hair, day after day, without even realizing it. So, what does hot water actually do to your hair? Let's break it down simply. 1. It overopens your hair cuticle. Think of each strand of hair like a tiny tree trunk, with outer layers that resemble fish scales. These are your cuticles, and they protect the inner core of the hair. When you use warm, not hot water, those cuticles open just enough to allow shampoo to cleanse and conditioner to absorb. But when the water's too hot, the cuticles open too much, which means moisture escapes. Natural oils are stripped away. Valuable nutrients inside the hair are lost. The result? Dryness, dullness, and a lack of shine. 2. It dries out your scalp and triggers more oil. Hot water doesn't just dry your hair. It also dries your scalp. And at our age, when hormones are already playing tricks on our skin and scalp, this creates an imbalance. The scalp senses the dryness and panics, overproducing oil to make up for it. That's why so many women say, "My hair feels dry, but it still looks greasy the next day." Why? Now you know. 3. It weakens the hair shaft and leads to breakage. Already fragile hair becomes even more brittle when exposed to hot water regularly. Even if you're using the best shampoo or hair mask, hot water can undo all of that by weakening your hair structure, causing breakage at the root, making hair tangle more easily and lose its bounce. I'm doing everything right, so why is my hair still getting worse? I can't count how many women in their 50s and 60s have told me, "I buy quality products. I don't dye my hair that often. I've even changed my diet, but it still feels like my hair's getting thinner." And while we're quick to blame shampoo, aging, or genetics, we almost always overlook the simplest culprit: water temperature. Here's the thing: hair can't talk like your skin. It doesn't scream in pain. It just quietly suffers until one day you notice it. Doesn't frame your face the way it used to. Looks limp, dull, or tired. Feels like it's no longer you. But there's good news. This is an easy fix, and it makes a real difference. So what's the best way to wash your hair after 50? Let's make it simple. Use lukewarm water, around 98-100 degrees F, 37-38 degrees C. Think baby bath water. It's warm enough to cleanse, but gentle enough to protect. If your mirror fogs up quickly, it's probably too hot. Don't soak your hair for too long. It's tempting to stand under the stream and just breathe. But if you're taking a hot shower, try wrapping your hair in a clip or towel first. Wash your body, then your hair separately, using lukewarm or cooler water. Finish with a cool rinse. A quick splash of cool water at the end, just 30 seconds. Help seal the cuticle, lock in moisture, and add natural shine. It's like your hair's version of a deep breath. One small change equals big results. Here's the beauty of it. You don't need expensive products. You don't need a new hairstyle. Just lowering the temperature in your shower can restore softness, shine, and strength to your hair. In these quiet adjustments, these little acts of care, we begin to rediscover ourselves after 50. Not because we're trying to look young again, but because we deserve to feel nurtured, graceful, and ourselves. So, next time you step into the shower, ask yourself, what if I turned the temperature down just a little for my hair's sake? Try it and notice how your hair responds. It just might whisper a soft thank you. Coming up next, there's one everyday habit that might be aging your hair even faster, and you're doing it right after the shower. It seems harmless, even comforting. But your towel, It could be secretly damaging your hair without you even realizing it. Don't miss the next part, because trust me, once you know this, you'll never look at your bath towel the same way again. Mistake 2. Scrubbing too hard. Your 50-plus hair can't take IT anymore. Back in the day, I could wash my hair however I wanted. It was still thick and full. Now, one rough shampoo and I lose a whole handful. That's what a client of mine, 58 years young, told me not long ago. And she's not exaggerating. Truth is, many women are quietly going through the same thing. The shedding, the thinning, the dullness. But because it happens so gradually, we often assume it's just normal. Every wash is a chance to heal or hurt your hair. Most of us have been washing our hair the same way for decades. Turn on the water, lather up the shampoo, scrub the scalp until it feels clean, rinse, done. But after 50, that old routine might not be helping anymore. In fact, it could be doing the exact opposite. When you were in your 20s or 30s, your hair follicles were strong. Your scalp had a nice protective layer of natural oils. Hair grew quickly and shed less often. But now, with estrogen levels dropping, follicles weaken. New growth slows down. And that natural oil barrier, it's thinner than ever. So when you scrub your scalp the way you used to, you're basically stripping away the last bit of protection your hair has left. You're also triggering more breakage, more fallout, and more frustration. The myth of the harder you scrub, the cleaner it gets. I get it. There's something satisfying about really digging in when you shampoo. It feels like you're getting rid of dirt, product buildup, maybe even stress from the day. But what you're really doing is this. You're treating your scalp like it's a kitchen floor, when in reality, it should be treated more like fine silk. Imagine taking a delicate silk scarf and rubbing it hard between your hands. That's basically what's happening to your hair and scalp every time you go in too rough. Why do we still scrub so hard, even when we know better? You might be thinking, okay, but I've been doing this my whole life. Why is it so hard to change now? The answer lies in memory and muscle. Washing your hair is an automatic habit. You've been doing it the same way for 30, maybe 40 years. Your brain has coded that method as right. Plus, that deep scrub gives a psychological release. It feels like you're washing the day away. But that satisfying feeling doesn't always mean it's good for your hair. It's kind of like reaching for strong coffee every morning. It feels right, but deep down, you know it's what's familiar, not necessarily what your body needs. Washing gently doesn't mean washing poorly. It means washing smart. Past 50, hair care becomes less about deep cleaning and more about nourishing, healing, and protecting. Here's how I coach my clients and how I care for my own hair. Start with lukewarm water, around 97-100 degrees F/36-38 degrees C. Hot water strips away essential oils. Cold water won't activate your shampoo properly. Think, baby bath temperature, warm but not hot. Lather the shampoo in your hands first. Never pour shampoo straight onto your scalp. Foam it up in your palms to evenly distribute the product and avoid irritating one spot with a high concentration of cleanser. Use fingertips, not fingernails. Gently move your fingertips in small circular motions, from your forehead to the back of your head, and from the sides to the crown. No scratching, no scrubbing. Think of it like giving your scalp a relaxing massage. Keep massage time to 1-2 minutes. That's all your scalp needs to get clean. It's not about how long, you're not trying to exfoliate. It's about how you touch your scalp. Rinse with cool water at the end. Cool water helps seal the cuticle, lock in moisture, and gives your hair that natural shine. Healthy hair doesn't come from expensive bottles. It comes from your hands. I've worked with women who spend big on luxury hair care, organic shampoos, high-end serums, imported oils from Provence. But if they're still scrubbing like it's 1995, their hair continues to break, flatten, and dull, despite the money and effort. And then there are women who keep it simple, just a basic shampoo, gentle hands, and weekly scalp massages. Their hair. Full, shiny, vibrant, and more youthful-looking than some women 10 years younger. The truth is, your hands are your most powerful beauty tool. Gentle care beats pricey products every single time. My hair feels fine, but is it really? Maybe you're not seeing big chunks of hair fall out. Maybe your hair still looks okay. But here's a little challenge. Step into sunlight. Take a photo with no filters, no soft lighting. Look closely. You might notice a thinning part, finer strands, a bit of dullness or uneven tone. That's when it hits you. Okay doesn't mean healthy. And not bad doesn't mean as good as it could be. After 50, your hair needs 3 times the care because it only has a fraction of the resilience it once had. Are you asking your hair to handle more than it can? If the honest answer is maybe, then now is the time to make a change. You don't have to overhaul your whole routine overnight. Just start with your next shampoo. Ease up your hands by 30%. Lather first, then apply. Touch your hair like it's fine silk. Your hair will feel the difference. And soon, every wash will feel less like a chore and more like a mini spa moment just for you. But here's the thing. Even if you shampoo gently, if you're still using a product that seems to work, but is secretly drying out your strands, fading your color, and zapping elasticity, then all that effort might be going to waste. And that's exactly what we're tackling in the next part, the silent mistake hiding in your shampoo bottle. You won't want to miss it. Mistake 3. Brushing your hair right after washing, when it's at its weakest. Did you know? One tiny habit, done just seconds after washing your hair, can cause more damage than using the wrong shampoo for a whole month. I've met countless women over 50 at my showroom who come in saying things like, I don't know why, but my hair just keeps falling out. They've invested in fancy imported shampoos, collagen treatments, even biotin supplements. And yet their hair stays thin and the shedding continues like clockwork. So I ask gently, do you usually brush your hair right after washing it? And about 90% say, of course. How else is it supposed to dry nicely? Well, that right there is a big mistake. A common one, but a damaging one. Wet hair equals weak hair. Your hair may look strong, but when it's wet, it's at its most fragile. When you wash your hair, the outer layer, called the cuticle, opens up to absorb moisture and nutrients. That also means your hair is exposed, vulnerable, like a door left wide open in a storm. So when you brush wet hair, especially with force, you're essentially ripping through those delicate, unsealed layers. Even if it feels like the brush is gliding smoothly, because the hair is heavy with water, what's actually happening is silent damage. You don't feel it because hair doesn't have nerves, but your strands are quite literally screaming for mercy. The domino effect. shedding, splitting, and dullness. Brushing wet hair can lead to long-term damage that shows up in ways you might not immediately connect. Patchy hair loss, especially around the part line and bangs. Split ends and frizz from overstretching delicate strands. Loss of shine, making hair feel dry and straw-like. And the worst part, most women don't even realize their hairbrush is the culprit. So when can you brush it, and how? Here's the gentle, step-by-step method I teach my clients and use myself. 1. Don't brush right after rinsing. After shampooing and rinsing, use a soft towel to gently blot excess water. Do not rub your hair or twist it like a dishcloth. Instead, loosely wrap your hair in a towel for 3–5 minutes to soak up the moisture. 2. Detangle gently with your fingers first. Before you reach for a brush, use your fingers to separate strands and work out any large tangles. This simple act not only prevents damage, it also helps you check in with your hair. Where is it dry? Where is it fragile? Which areas need more love? 3. Brush only when hair is damp, not soaking wet. Wait until your hair is about 60–70% dry before brushing. And don't start from the top like most of us were taught. Here's a better way. Start at the ends to gently detangle. Work your way up to the mid-lengths. Then finally, brush from roots to ends. This method prevents pulling and breakage, especially if your hair is fine or thinning. 4. Use the right kind of brush. I always recommend a wide-tooth comb or a brush with soft, rounded bristles. Wooden ones are great. Avoid stiff plastic or metal brushes with sharp tips. They can scratch your scalp and snap hair with every stroke. Hair after 50 equals emotions you didn't expect. Here's what I've learned. Losing hair or seeing it get thinner isn't just about looks. It hits deeper. One of my clients once tried on a dress for her daughter's wedding. She looked beautiful, but when she caught a glimpse of her hair in the mirror, she broke down in tears. She whispered, "I don't want to be in the pictures. My hair looks so thin, like I didn't even try." Hair isn't just hair. It's our confidence. It's how we see ourselves in the mirror, and whether we feel good enough to step out and connect with others. And the saddest part is, so much of that damage is avoidable. It only takes a few mindful minutes after washing your hair to prevent long-term harm. If you've read this far, I can tell you're someone who truly cares about yourself, and I want to say this from my heart. You deserve hair that feels beautiful, healthy, and full of life, no matter your age. Taking care of your hair after 50 isn't just about looking good on the outside. It's a way of honoring yourself with gentleness, patience, and love. So let's start with one simple change. Stop brushing your hair when it's soaking wet. And hey, if you've ever blow-dried your hair on high heat right after a shower to save time or avoid getting sick, well, then you'll definitely want to stick around for the next part. Because that's another common mistake that could be costing your hair more than you realize. Mistake 4. Not blow-drying your hair the right way. Beautiful hair comes from care and patience, not rush and heat. There are some women whose hair didn't weaken because of age. It's not genetics. It's not just hormones. It's a blow dryer aimed the wrong way at the wrong time. I remember asking one of my clients. She was 62, with silver hair that was so full and bouncy it stopped people in their tracks, what her secret was. She smiled, pointed to her towel and hair dryer, and said, "I don't rush. I treat my hair the same way I treat my mood in the morning, with gentleness. Simple, right? But here's the thing, most of us do the opposite. We wash our hair and immediately grab the dryer. High heat. No nozzle, right up against the scalp. Or worse, we don't dry it at all, sleep on damp hair, then flatten it with a straightener the next day and wonder, why is my hair so dry? Why is it breaking? Why is it falling out by the handful? One hair does like to be rushed. After 50, your scalp gets thinner and more sensitive. The natural oils that used to coat and protect your hair start to decrease. So while you might have been able to blast your hair with heat in your 30s and bounce back, that same routine in your 50s or 60s leads to breakage, shedding, and dullness. Your hair needs gentleness. Start by patting it dry with a soft towel, not rubbing it like you're scrubbing a countertop. Then, when you use the dryer, keep it at least 8–10 inches, 20–25 cm away from your scalp. Use medium heat and always aim the airflow downward, from root to tip, to help the cuticle lie flat, giving your hair that smooth, shiny finish. Many women ask me why their hair always looks frizzy or won't hold its shape. And often, the answer isn't the haircut or the products, it's how they blow dry. Every time you blast hot air in random directions, especially from underneath, you're basically disorienting your hair. You're pushing the strands into chaos. And over time, that messy energy becomes how people see you, too. So, when should you blow dry? There's actually a sweet spot for blow drying, and that's when your hair is about 60–70% dry naturally. After you wash your hair, wrap it in a soft towel for 10–15 minutes. Let it rest in open air for another 5–10. Then start drying section by section, from the inside out with patience. I know what you might be thinking. That sounds like too much time. But think of it this way. You'd easily spend an hour getting your hair done at a salon, right? So why not invest 15 minutes a day protecting the hair you already have? 3. Choose the right hair dryer. Don't let heat be the enemy. You don't need a $300 blow dryer, but you do need one with multiple heat settings. The cool air option. And ideally, ionic technology to reduce frizz and lock in moisture. If your dryer only has one setting, blazing hot, it's time to say goodbye. Because that daily blast of high heat is stripping away your hair's natural oils and leaving it dry, stiff, and lifeless. Also, the nozzle matters more than people think. Use a flat concentrator attachment to direct the airflow and help shape the hair. And if you have curls or waves, a diffuser is your best friend. It maintains the curl shape and cuts down on frizz. 4. Protect your hair before you dry. A small step, big results. Before turning on the dryer, always apply a heat protectant spray. Most contain lightweight silicones that create a temporary shield, minimizing damage from heat. If you prefer a more natural route, you can use a small amount of argan oil or coconut oil, but only on the mid-lengths and ends, never on the scalp, or it'll get greasy fast. This simple habit is often skipped because it feels extra. But to me, it's a sign of self-care. It's like putting on a cozy jacket before stepping into the cold. Your hair deserves that same protection. 5. Your attitude toward your hair is your attitude toward yourself. I've met women who don't have model-perfect faces or figure. But when they walk into a room with full, soft, beautifully styled hair, something magical happens. They turn heads, they shine, and guess what? There's no such thing as lucky hair or born with it. They just take their time. They pay attention. And they treat their hair with love, just like they've learned to treat themselves. You don't have to sacrifice beauty just because life is busy. In fact, slowing down to care for yourself is exactly where real beauty comes from. If you've started making changes to how you dry your hair, congratulations. You're already miles ahead, but the journey's not over yet. In the next section, we'll talk about mistake 5, a sneaky one that smells nice but can suffocate your strands. Yep, we're diving into conditioner mistakes and how something meant to nourish your hair might actually be holding it back. Let's keep going, because your hair deserves to breathe and to live. Hair care isn't just about beauty. It's a way to love yourself. You might not remember every single hair care tip we've talked about, and that's okay. You might not get around to trying everything I've suggested today, and that's okay, too. But if there's one thing I hope you'll carry with you from this whole conversation, it's this. Hair isn't just strands. It's emotion. It's part of your presence. It's the very first look you give yourself in the mirror each morning. What does your hair say about you? After 50, our bodies start to slow down. Hormones shift. Hair begins to gray, thin out, or become sparse. And sometimes, standing in front of the mirror, we let out a quiet sigh. But what if, in all that fragility, your hair is actually whispering to you? Be gentler with me. Pay a little more attention. Treat me like a friend, not a problem. Our hair holds the silent diary of our lives. All the stress, the sleepless nights, the pressure, it shows up in our hair. All the skipped meals, the sacrifices for our kids or others, our hair is often the first to feel it. So when you take time to care for your hair each day, it's not just about keeping it clean. It's your way of saying, I deserve love, and I'm going to start by loving myself. Washing your hair isn't just about getting clean, it's about showing tenderness. I once met a woman in her 60s. Her hair was almost fully silver, but every morning she would sit by the window and gently brush her hair with a wooden comb, smiling softly as she did. Her hair wasn't thick, but it was always neat, glowing, and carried the soothing scent of lavender oil. I asked her, "What's your secret to such beautiful hair?" She smiled and said, "I don't do my hair, I just brush it with love." And that stayed with me for a long, long time. Sometimes you don't need a drastic change. You just need to change the way you treat yourself. And hair, in its honesty, will reflect that right back to you. When your hair begins to heal, so does your spirit. When you start washing your hair with warm, not hot, water. When you stop scratching your scalp with your nails. When you choose nourishing oils. Eat better, and let your hair air dry instead of frying it with heat. You're not just caring for your hair. You're quietly sending a message to your inner self. I respect this body. I respect myself. And from that, a new kind of vitality will slowly return. You won't need heavy makeup or fancy clothes. With just a head of healthy, cared-for hair, you'll glow with a quiet confidence that's truly your own. You deserve to feel beautiful at every age. Being 50, 60, or beyond isn't the time to forget about your hair. In fact, it's the perfect time to let your inner elegance shine, not by chasing trends, but by embracing what truly reflects you. Your hair doesn't need bold dyes or complicated styles. It just needs to suit you to feel like you. You don't need to look 20 again. You just need to be the most radiant version of yourself at your own age. So if you've been washing your hair out of routine, I invite you. Turn it into a little ritual of self-love. Brush your hair slowly. Pick a shampoo you truly enjoy. Take a deep breath while your hair still carries that fresh scent. And look at yourself in the mirror as if seeing a dear friend you haven't visited in a long, long time. I can't promise you'll see change in just 1 week, but I do believe this. Your hair will quietly thank you, and your whole presence, your energy, will begin to shine. Thank you for joining me on this little journey. If something in today's video spoke to your heart, drop a comment below, or share it with a friend who's also in her 50s or 60s and might need this gentle